Yes?
I said, put your hands in the air, now.
Are you robbing me?
Yes.
Oh.
Hey. And that's why, kids, you never tell someone you're going to rob them. Also, Rooster Teeth, I noticed that Full Metal Alchemist reference in the background. You couldn't fool me. Though it's weird, since I just got done reviewing Full Metal Alchemist. Coincidence?
I see it, and now it's all within my reach. Possibility. I see it now. It's always been inside of me. And now I feel so free. And there's possibility. And there's possibility. And there's possibility. And there's possibility. And there's possibility.
Everyone, and today I'm taking a look at RWBY Volume 1. Now you're probably wondering, what is RWBY? Well, RWBY was created back in 2013 by a studio on the internet called Rooster Teeth. You probably know them from Red vs. Blue and the series creator, Monty Oum, before his unfortunate passing in 2015. Now, I didn't know anything about the show until when I got this game in 2018, and I was like, who's this Ruby Rose girl on the top of the box art? Is she from a video game or something? But it wasn't until earlier this year where a couple of my friends on Discord suggested that I watch the show. And now that I've seen it, I really enjoyed the show, and since I can't review anything new because of the I decided, why not just review RWBY in a retrospective type way? So that's how we're going to do it. We're going to do each season individually, and yeah. Now, if there's a certain plot point or character that I don't mention in this review, then that means that character or plot point will get mentioned in a later review. So that means stuff like this.
You have silver eyes.
And this.
RWBY, I've made more mistakes than any man, woman, and child on this planet.
So yeah, stuff like that won't be brought up until they're important later on in the series. And also, this will contain full spoilers for Volume 1, and I will spoil the other seasons when I get to reviewing those. So there's your spoiler warning. Now let's talk about the plot of this first season. The show takes place in the world of Remnant, where there are 4 kingdoms, but we're just gonna stay in Vale for right now. Oh, that's okay with you guys. And one night, a couple of robbers try to rob a store full of dust, which is basically gives their weapons power, until our main character, Ruby Rose, shows up, kicks some butt, and because of that, she gets the attention of the headmaster of a school known as Beacon, which basically teaches your child how to become a monster hunter, basically. And because of that, she's allowed to join 2 years early, and because of that, she meets a couple friends, and is put in a team with her sister, Yang Xiaolong, Blake Belladonna, and Weiss Sneed. Don't worry, we'll talk about them in a second. As they discover some things along the way with other characters. Now let's talk about our 4 main groups let's talk about some of the characters before we talk about other plot details. There's the main character, Ruby Rose. This season, well, it is the starting season where we see RWBY, and I like RWBY a lot. I like how in this first season, when she first goes to Beacon, she's a little worried about how she'll end up because she thinks that people will treat her like she's special because she got to join in 2 years early, and because of that, she's a bit worried. And I also like how she's like, hey, I don't have any friends here, and the only person I know is my older sister, so who am I supposed to hang out with? I like that because, let's be honest, there have all been points in our lives where we go to a school with people we barely know, and we're like, I don't know anyone, so how am I going to make friends? And also, I like her weapon, her gun scythe, known as Crescent Rose, because it's an awesome weapon, and I want one. And also, it kind of reminds me a lot of Margaret Moonlight's 2 gun scythes from No More Heroes 2. And I like how she's able to use it as a sniper rifle. That's actually an awesome thing. But I will say, she is not the best marksman in fiction. She is the second best behind this certain character.
As if.
So, there you go. And accompanying RWBY, there's her older sister, Yang Xiaolong. And in case you're wondering, why do they have 2 different last names if they're sisters? Well, that's because while they share the same father, their mothers are completely different. RWBY's mother died before the events of the series, and no, that's not a spoiler because in RWBY's character trailer, we see the gravestone of her mother, while with Yang's mom, we'll get to her soon enough. And joining them is also the heiress of the Schnee Dust Company, which is one of the largest dust companies in Remnant, Weiss Schnee, who, while she does become my favorite out of the main four in later seasons, in this season she's pretty annoying to deal with, especially early on, where there's some rivalry between her and, RWBY. And then there's the final member of Team RWBY, Blake. And she's basically a ninja, but she's also a faunus. Basically, a faunus is a human, but they have animal characteristics. Like, say, for example, bunny ears, or a dog tail, you know what I mean? And she was once a civil rights protester for wanting faunus equality, until she left her group because her group basically turned into terrorists. And yeah, and she wants to try and have faunus be seen as good people. And there's a second team that's also very important, known as Team Juniper, which has John Ark, who starts off as a character who who made some illegal papers in order to get into Beacon by lying, and because of that, he's not very good at all, but does become better as the show goes on. And then there's Pira Nikos, who is a celebrity of huntresses, and she has a crush on John because, well, before him, everyone thought of her as, like, perfect. Though I'm confused. Why does she wear her armor everywhere she goes like she's Wonder Woman? I am confused by that. Oh dear God, I don't really want to ask that question. And then there's Nora Valkyrie, who, I'm just going to say it right now, she is one of my favorite characters. She is if you take Pinkie Pie, Amy Rose, and Juvia Loxer, and put them all in a blender, and she is freaking hilarious. And also make her immune to lightning. And then there's her childhood best friend, Lai Ren.
That lightsaber. It belongs to me.
No, not Kylo Ren, Lai Ren, who, well, he basically doesn't do much this season, but we'll get to him in later seasons. And yeah, that's basically the two main groups. There are some other characters, like the main villain for this season, Roman Torchwick, who I personally really like. I just think he's a really fun villain. Ozpin, who, he's very secretive, but don't worry, we'll get to him as his secrets are revealed. And there are two other characters. Sun, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name because, dear God, I don't mean to sound offensive, but that last name is, I don't even know how to pronounce it. And the final character is Penny. Don't worry, we'll get to her in Volume 2 because, yeah, she doesn't really do much here until the very end. And those are the characters, for the most part. Now let's get back to the story. For the story of this season, there are 4 major storylines that happen. The first one is about the entrance exams, where determining on what relic you get, it will determine who you're partnered up with through the rest of, your 4 years at Beacon. So, yeah. And since I already discussed the teams, you know who gets together. Well, in terms of a team anyway. And then there's a second arc where it's about RWBY trying to become a leader, and I like that because RWBY is technically the youngest member out of anyone in Beacon, so she is worried in herself as a leader. And her Weiss is all like, hey, you shouldn't be the leader at all, I should be it because I'm Weiss Schnee. And yeah, I'll fully admit, I wanted Weiss to shut the heck up during this season, but don't worry, she gets better over time, guys, I swear. And then there's the third arc with John, where he admits that he forged his way in here. And there's a bully who, yeah, let's be honest, he's really annoying. But don't worry, John stands up to the guy, and because of that, he gets the attraction of Pira. And, yeah. And then there's the final arc, where it's about, Blake, and finally showing off that she is a faunus, and she meets another character named Sun, which I mentioned earlier. And, yeah, that's basically the storylines for this season. Now, in terms of the good stuff, the characters are, for the most part, all likable. They're interesting, and they're fun to watch, and some of the jokes are pretty funny. They even make a certain type of joke hilarious with John and Pira, and it is kind of humorous in my opinion. Another thing I like about this show is the music. It is freaking amazing. In this season, it's amazing, and in the later seasons, it is amazing. The opening theme song, probably one of my favorites in the show. And yeah, the music is just so dang catchy. I can listen to it all day long, especially some of the character themes. For right now, there is a certain character that gets introduced in Volume 2, which has my favorite character theme, but we'll talk about that character in the next video. But for right now, I'll just say my favorite character theme goes to Weiss because of how beautiful it is sung, and yeah. And the fight scenes are fantastic. My two favorites are the one during the entrance exams where Team Juniper and Team RWBY fight a giant grim scorpion and a giant like wyvern sort of thing. It's awesome, and all the characters get their moment to shine. The animation is fast-paced, and it feels something like, say, out of Platinum Games or Kingdom Hearts quick time event sequence. It is freaking amazing to watch on screen. And yeah, it's really dang good. And my second favorite fight scene in this season is the one at the very end with Blake and Sun versus Roman. It's fast-paced and just really fun to watch, as I said earlier. In terms of negatives I have, well, now for the animation, it's kind of expected to not look as perfect as it should be because this is the first season. Not every first season of an animated show can have perfect animation. In fact, this season, mostly when it comes to the good animation, it's resolved in the fight scenes, but some of the characters just move around a little too awkwardly, and when it comes to background characters, I can excuse them all being, in shadows because it does take time to do that, and they were just starting off with a new software that they haven't used before, so I can forgive that. But my only major problem with the animation is that sometimes the mouth movement just looks awkward as heck. Seriously, I'm not even joking. And also, some of the arcs could have been a lot shorter, like John's arc. It's 4 episodes long, yet the one with RWBY deciding if she should be a leader or not is 2. That makes no sense, honestly, in my opinion. And also, Weiss. I don't hate Weiss necessarily, but in this season, she just got on my nerves and I wanted her to shut up. But thankfully, they do give explanation to why she's like this in future seasons, and now she's one of my favorite characters, so there. And also, I know this is technically cheating, but the foreshadowing in this first season is great. Later seasons follow up on what was established in this first season, and it just feels so perfect in my opinion. Don't worry, I'll talk about what they reveal in later seasons, but for right now, I'll just say they do it flawlessly. And heck, this is an example where later seasons make the first season a lot better rather than worse. You know what I mean? And because of that, I was originally going to give this season a 5 or 6 out of 10. But because of later seasons, this season gets a 7 out of 10. It's just good, but the weakest season so far. I'll fully admit, for everything good this season has to offer, like the characters, the world building is pretty good, the fight scenes are amazing, and the music, there are some things that do hold it down, like some of the arcs being a little too short for my taste, and also the fact that some episodes were either 5 or 7 minutes long, which, I don't know, it just doesn't really work for me, but still, overall, this was a good first season to a great show, and trust me, we'll get to Season 2 very, very soon. So that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time where we take a look at RWBY Volume 2. See you all later, and have a good day. Bye. Hey guys, this is post-production me at the very end of the video, and I just want to say there were 2 issues I had with this season, also 2 other issues I had. One, both of them were during the John arc, where when the bully is basically blackmailing John to do stuff or else he'll tell everyone his secret. During their scene, they're planning on like throwing these sap at Pyrrha and then attracting wasps to sting the crap out of her. My problem with the scene is that while they're telling John this plan, Team RWBY and Team Jennifer are right there, and they don't hear them. I'm just like, ugh, I hate it in fiction whenever this guy's giving off a plan and the main character's like right next to them, and they can't hear it. I'm just annoyed with that. Another thing I have a problem with is at the very end, where, while yes, John does behead a Grimm, my problem was that it's not, John who does it, it's just that, like, Pyrrha helps him out. I'm like, no, I think it should have been just John who does it by himself to show how much he's grown as a character. And yeah, but still, that's just me. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you all next time where we take a look at RWBY Volume 2. So see you all later, have a good day. Peace.